For that, we go to Statesboro. Catch up with our friend Darin Van Tassell. Very, very big weekend. A couple weeks left in the regular season in USL League One. And you guys are coming out of Lane 8 trying to get into the playoffs. I mean, you are storming the gates these last couple of weeks. What is going on down there in Statesboro? Good morning.
We are hardwired for late charges. We discovered the magic formula last year, and we're feeling good right now. We're playing our best. We're playing some of our best soccer of the season, and we've had 3 straight weeks where we really had some must wins. I think we have 2 more weekends, so the playoffs came early for Tormenta in 2023.
Well, but I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because you're sitting there and you're going, okay, you're getting playoff ready. Must win, getting yourself ready for that. 2 points out of a playoff spot. Everybody's played 30 matches except for Charlotte, who's played 31, and Central Valley, who's eliminated from the playoffs at 31. But, yeah, you've already gotten adjusted to that idea of the must-win situation to get into a postseason to chase after going back-to-back.
This is fun. The playoffs are just so much fun. That's what I love about October. I'm also a baseball guy, so we got the Braves Phillies coming up.
Yeah.
We'll probably put them on the big screen in pregame for our Tormenta Omaha matchup today. Listen, it's fun when you're finding some success, and as our organization ages, I think when you're first starting out, you have less of an understanding of what makes you good, whether you're a professional player, coach, or in the ownership. And I think we have a better understanding of how to build, how to manage that hot summer here. And as we're coming down the stretch, the guys are playing well. That's fun, but we're also doing a better job, I think, in the front office. We're doing a better job with our fans. And I think our fans are, we're expecting a big crowd for Saturday. So let's go do it.
And, what has it been like there at the stadium? Because for those that follow on social media, you're seeing more cement being, planted as a part of the process. The stadium is continuing to grow. What's that been like for folks who haven't had the chance to see?
Yeah, we have absolutely had cement tourists this week who've pulled in to do nothing but take pictures of pouring concourses. Listen, this is a big, big project we have. It doesn't move as fast as I'd like to. And but we've got some concourses done, and then when the season ends, hopefully in a month, not in a week.
There you go.
We've got quite a big push here in the off season. So what a dream it's going to be to see it all done. But until then, we've got an amazing pitch in the middle of an amazing construction site. The area that surrounds us, John, the retail commercial area, is probably where most of the growth has gone in this past year. So we have a Chick-fil-A under construction. Starbucks is about to finish itself. And Blaze Pizza, LeBron James owns that company at the top. Will be moving in. So as we've been filling out the retail piece of the stadium, the sidewalks and concourses are coming together too. A lot of work to do. It's just going to be fun to follow. Keep following us on all the social media.
And at the same time, the live, work, play element has been, I think, key to the growth of a lot of the markets in USL League One, where you're seeing with you and with the Martinos up in Chattanooga, up at CHI Memorial, where it's not just a stadium that will sit once the season is dormant, whenever that is. You want to have other events there. You want to have other things going on. So it's a continual drawing card for the organization as you're continuing to grow.
I think the Braves really showed us all the formula very early on with Battery Atlanta. We've taken the same concept, built it around the stadium, that stadium-centric entertainment, retail, live, work, eat, play, residential district. That's what we have. We've built the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is still a lot more to come. But it's the fuel. It's the fuel that keeps the whole place. It makes it fun. Smaller areas don't mean we're less sophisticated. And so I think the Braves model at Battery Atlanta is a great one for I think, facilities around the planet to follow.
Yeah, and at the same time, you can add learn to that, specifically where you're concerned, considering you're just across the Parkway from Georgia Southern. And so you're integrating there into a community that has meant a lot to you over a very long period of time.
Yeah, that location makes it really fun and exciting for us. I was at that Georgia Southern women's NCAA game last night. They won. We have 5 of our Tormenta women who play for Georgia Southern at various times, and one of our national championship alums got the game winner late. So it was a good night for Tormenta Nation.
What's it like to see Tormenta expand the way that it is? And I'm not just talking about League One, and I'm not just talking about physical plant and infrastructure. It's where you're rubbing off on Georgia Southern soccer. You're rubbing off on the community and doing so in a high school sense. You're having players from USLW that are now going worldwide to expand what they've done there in Statesboro. What's it been like for you there to see Tormenta, whether it's League One, A, W, whatever we're talking about, being there internationally now?
It's something between proud parents and big fans of it all. And we all want nice things to happen to our hometowns. So I think that's a big piece of it. Listen, there are so many things outside of our control in terms of what we can do. And so I think our mantra has always been, let's focus on those controllables, which is our attitude, our efforts, and how we're going to treat others. And if you've played it at Tormenta, how we want to be treated and keep following those successes are great. It's fun. This is the fun part.
And you mentioned the fun part, USL League One continuing to expand, add markets, anticipation. The Western Frontier recently got another nod where USL Antelope Valley, for those that might remember their minor league baseball, the Lancaster Jethawks, that facility for them is now going to be converted over the next handful of years to a 5,300-seat soccer stadium. We've seen that kind of conversion work in Huntsville. Antelope Valley coming online yesterday, I want to say for 2025.
Right.
And so you're getting those regional rivalries that you were talking about from the beginning when USL League One was getting formed, that you want those hubs that you can sit there and attach yourself to when it comes to rivalries, so you're not having to try to figure out all the time, okay, how do I get from Statesboro to Central Valley? Because last time I checked, unless it's like wheels up, there's no direct way to get from Statesboro to Fresno to play a match. And now you're starting to get those regional hubs lined up.
I thought the LA Times had a good story on Antelope Valley in Tuesday or Wednesday's edition. They've got a lot of support. I think there's a great soccer community there. I think it's at it's northern LA, and the mayor and the elected officials there have really gotten behind what I think the identity is going to be. When we're at our best, that's what League One gets to do. And we get Brooklyn in 2025. We get Spokane next year. We get Portland, Maine in 2025. And I think there's another one in 2025 that hasn't been announced yet that at least the owners know about. So this is the growth we've been waiting. COVID sort of smack stab in the middle of it and postpones so many of these things from us. But having a national league that is going to get big enough where you can divide up into regions and maybe impact some of the travel that way. Even the Atlanta Braves don't want to go to play the Dodgers and San Francisco Giants every week. But once a year would be fine. But it's getting solidified, and this run up to the World Cup is real, and the USL, I think, is a great organization to manifest it.
Darin Van Tassell hanging out with us from South Georgia Tormenta. Home regular season finale coming up this weekend. Big match, must win. You need full points. You're 2 points out of the playoff race. Hanging out with us here, batting leadoff for the baseball guy here on SDH on a Friday. I know a lot of folks ask, and it's been a part of the discussion with USL, the whole idea of promotion relegation. And you've got to have a lot of moving parts. You've got to have owners on the championship side who would understand the perils and the pitfalls of possibly being relegated. I mean, it would be a situation this year, if you were looking at it, it'd be like Vegas and Hartford, who did not have good seasons in USL Championship. They would have to understand going in, hey, this may happen. What's the latest there? What's been the conversations about that inside USL?
Well, it is one giant active conversation. We're all over the place as owners. I think we all have similar goals. I think some of us have different time frames that we'd like to do. Some of us want all the information before we can make a decision. Some of us need a little bit of information and want to figure out. as we go. I think they're all reasonable positions to have from an ownership standpoint. But the conversation is active. It is real. Clearly, we can't do anything if we don't have not just the majority, but the bulk of our owners in the USL to do some things. And I think when you're making big decisions and that involve big moments, there has to be a lot of details, a lot of information. There's always compromise. That's what governing is about. And so we've been going down that path trying to get that work done. We've met a lot face to face. And I think as we grow with that familiarity, we'll get better and better at it. There are no specific answers in terms of what that timeline is. We certainly, there was a lot of public reports about where we wanted to get that done in Colorado Springs back in the late summer times. We'll see. Some folks clearly need a bit more time to make those decisions. Meanwhile, as a league in League One, we're going to experiment with some of our own ideas and things that we can do in the interim and keep pushing our league to where we want to be. And I think there's going to be some fun announcements that we'll be able to share here in the next few months.
I was going to say, if you ever want to break news, you know where you can.
I always only break news here.
When it comes to League One specifically, the level of competition, I think it's been really fun to see how a younger team like Northern Colorado with Eamon Zayed on the touchline, they've really become competitive. North Carolina, Union Omaha, you could throw a blanket over those three going into the final two matches of the season. Then there's that second group with Charlotte and Greenville and Madison and One Knox was competitive out of the blocks this season, and they've kind of come back to earth. Lex SC, I think, has acquitted themselves pretty well this year. Chattanooga, I think Richmond is probably one of the big surprises, one of those perennial playoff powers. Say that 10 times fast. Right now, they're having a rough season. They've lost 4 in a row. What would you, when you look at the league in and of itself this season and the level of competition as League One continues to grow, how would you say what has been happening in the league this year?
Everybody got better. Everybody got better than they were last year. Richmond's is a great example in which their record didn't turn out, but they didn't have Terzaghi down the stretch the last couple months, and they're a different club without him. We'd be a different club without Keziah Sterling on our end. But everybody got better. I mean, even Wednesday night, Fuego had the early lead against Greenville and gave it up late. Every team is so good. They're filled with players. There's so many outstanding soccer football players around the planet, and League One here in the United States gives them such a platform. There's so many people, even on the benches to pull from. The Northern Colorado and NCFC Omaha, they've become the class of our league this year. We've got a massive test in front of our hands tomorrow. We've never beaten Omaha.
Yep.
Here at Tormenta. We've drawn with them several times and lost that last draw in the last dying seconds when we were in Omaha. They're incredibly hard to play at home. They're tough to play on the road, but we like having a bigger field to play on them. So we think that gives us a little bit more speed advantage, but they just are winning, and they're clearly been the class of our league since they joined League One years ago. They've been right in the playoffs every year, in the finals, winning the Players' Shield along the way. So we're going to try to slow them down a little bit here tomorrow.
One more question for you, and it has to do with a particular individual there on your roster. Pablo Jara, who hit a milestone recently with a number of matches played there in the organization. When I mention Pablo as an individual, not the soccer guy,
I already have cold chills thinking about this. Keep going.
When I mention Pablo as an individual, and you've gotten the chance to see him grow off the field as much as on, when I mention Pablo, what comes to mind as a part of the fabric there at Tormenta?
I think Pablo Jara is the finest individual I've ever met in my entire life. I've been to almost 50 different countries. I've been close to lots of people. I have a lovely wife, 2 sons, parents, siblings I'm very fond of. I think all of us have a difficult time holding the candle to Pablo Jara. That's how strong I feel about him. There's a work rate, there's a kindness, there's a professionalism that I'm inspired to try and match. I can't get there because it is a work rate and a steadfastness in terms of personality and consistency. Just fun to be around on top of all this. He and Logan, his fiance, get married the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I promise you, Tormenta will be fully in house at that time. Those two met at Wingate when they were both in college, and so the ceremony is going to be close to all of that. I think of nothing but celebration. I think of nothing but pride. I think of nothing about just how lucky did I get to be a part of Pablo's life. The fact that he's also playing incredibly well down our stretch brings me great joy. Back-to-back clean sheets. We hadn't had one in 5 months. That's how much we'd been struggling as a team. But his presence is meaningful. And if Tormenta makes the playoffs and makes a big run and we get another star, I promise you the MVP of this season is Pablo Jara.
Pack the house tomorrow night. It is Union Omaha, 7:30 at Tormenta Stadium there. It is the regular season home finale. Tormenta, Union Omaha, trying to determine playoff seedings, positions, all that kind of stuff. Massively important match down there in the borough. Darin, as always, thanks for hanging out with us here and breaking everything down, especially when it comes to USL League One. And you have golden ticket status, and you can crash at any time.
I love golden ticket status. This is my favorite thing to do on Friday mornings. Let's keep going.
All right. Be safe, my friend. Be good.
All right. Cheers.
All right. It's Darin Van Tassell and DVT. He's got a big matchup for Tormenta coming up against Union Omaha. As Union Omaha right now, they're in that gaggle at 1-2-3. And South Georgia Tormenta, we mentioned coming in from lane 8. They've won 3 in a row. And they are 2 points out of a playoff spot right now. The way things are, 41 points for Tormenta. Forward Madison, same number of matches, 43 points for Tormenta. It is this home match, and then they hit the road next time out